What's up YouTube? Welcome to Apple Knows. My name's Corey and this is Apple Knows. So let's get started and see what Apple knows this week. In the last 2 weeks there's been quite a few rumors about the iPhone 5, whether it's going to be bigger than the iPhone 4 or actually half the size of the iPhone 4. And taking a look at all the rumors this week, there are quite a few rumors on what the iPhone 5 is going to be like. First is a prototype with a physical slide-out keyboard, which would be very unlikely for Apple. As you probably already know, Apple uses the virtual keyboard on the iPhone, and it doesn't look like they're going to have a physical slide-out keyboard anytime soon. They might just be testing it just to test it out and see what happens with that. The more likely prototype looking right now is to be a similar to the iPhone 4, maybe with a 4-inch screen than the 3.5-inch screen, what it is right now. And it would have better hardware such as a longer battery life with an improved battery and improved camera such as an 8-megapixel camera. And this update would be like the iPhone 3G to the iPhone 3GS and nothing dramatic from the iPhone 4. You can now read your favorite news articles and magazines in the App Store. Apple has finally released the ability to buy a subscription in the App Store, and they are fixing their problem with angry publishers by saying that they can keep the 30% of the profit that usually Apple gets as long as they bring the reader to the article and not Apple bringing it to them. So if Apple brings the reader to the newspaper or magazine article, then they get to keep the 30%, but if the developer brings it from their publisher or from their website, then they get to keep the 30% and they get to keep all 100% of the profit. And consumers can check their subscription on the iTunes account page where you usually check all your purchases and stuff. And hopefully you'll be seeing your favorite magazines and news articles pretty soon with the new agreement with publishers. And hopefully we will see some big articles and some smaller newspapers in the App Store pretty soon. Would you like the ability to use 3G data on your MacBook Air? Apple Insider is reporting that Apple took a survey to see if people would use 3G data on their MacBook Air if they had the ability to. And we saw Apple take a survey in February 2009 to shape up the Apple TV. So maybe Apple is thinking about putting 3G on a MacBook Air, or at least having the ability to use 3G as a data plan, and make the MacBook Air like an iPad and have the ability to use it outside of your Wi-Fi or your MiFi device, whatever you use. And that would be cool. So at least Apple's thinking about using 3G data on your MacBook Air, and we'll have to see what happens with that whenever they release the next generation MacBook Air and see what rumors come in a few months to come. If you're waiting for a MacBook Pro to jump out of Apple's warehouse into your lap, keep waiting. Apple could release new products from the MacBook Pro line as early as next month in March. The MacBook Pros were expected to be released in mid-February, but because of the Sandy Bridge issue that you might already heard about, Intel had a mess up with their chip, and so they had to redesign it and remanufacture it, and we could see the MacBook Pro come out on March 1st next month. And if we don't see it come out, that's because Apple's launch dates kind of change at any moment, and so expect a March 1st launch. And then if we don't see it, it's because of Apple's launch dates change by the second. So expect March 1st if you're waiting for one, and you can wait, just wait. And then if you can't, just wait. If you hate cables as much as I do, you might like what Apple might have planned for their future cables. They are talking about, in their patent, what they filed, Apple's engineers are looking at methods of transferring data and power via a single MagSafe cable, which is this white cable right here on my MacBook Pro. The patent name is Magnetic Connector with Optical Signal Path, which is short, actually very long, for saying that you can use this one cable to transfer data and power at the same time. As a part of the application, Apple makes a compelling case that any geek would like to carry one cable instead of bringing 5 or 6 cables, whatever they have, to one place, and just having one cable to solve your solution for power and data. An Apple patent was published this week that details a touch-sensitive smart bezel for its devices. Reading from a long list, the bezel would include touch sensors, pressure sensors, light emitters, haptic actuators, and accelerometers. With this array of embedded sensors, a user could touch the bezel to change the volume, adjust brightness, and more. And it looks like they're going to be getting rid of the home button pretty soon, and this would be the perfect way to get rid of the home button and pretty much all the extra buttons on the iPad or the iPhone. I don't know how it's going to scale down to an iPhone, but that would be perfect for the iPad if they're going to get rid of the home button and all the additional buttons that you can actually move, and they're going for only touch tablet, which would be pretty cool, and we might see a home buttonless iPad in the near future. According to CNET, Apple might be ready to introduce their high-speed connection technology, also known as LightPeak, but CNET says that they might change the name LightPeak to a different name that they have not heard of yet. And if you haven't heard of LightPeak, LightPeak allows you to do anything a USB port does. It allows you to connect a printer, hard drives, and scanners, anything else that you need to plug into your computer, really. And it's just a faster version of the USB drive. That's why Apple said to not include the USB 3.0 in their computers, because they were working on LightPeak, which is now going to be a different name. And it's faster than USB 3.0. It has 10 gigabytes each way. CNET was not able to confirm if Apple's high-speed connection technology was going to be implemented in the new release of the MacBook Pros, which are expected to release really soon. So we will just have to wait and see if it is in the MacBook Pros in the new release, or if they're going to wait to the iMacs or some other Mac line in the near future. If you watched Apple Knows last week, I said that Sony might be pulling out their music from the iTunes store. That was a rumor from an Australian publisher. And this week it seems like Brandon Layden, the CEO of Sony Entertainment, responded to that report by saying Sony Music, as I understand, has no intention of withdrawing from iTunes, and they are one of the biggest partners in digital domain. And he thinks that the words were taken out of context, or the person who spoke them was unclear of the circumstances. So we will continue to see Sony's music in the iTunes store, and you will not have to worry about any of your favorite artists getting taken out of the iTunes store. MIC Gadgets got their hands on an actual leather iPad 2 case, and it has reportedly been tested against the actual iPad 2, not a mold, not a mock-up, or a prototype. And the camera hole present on the back of the new case confirms the SDK findings that the iPad 2 will include a back camera, and it shows that the length will be roughly the same size as the iPhone 4's. The case also appears to be slightly smaller and slightly thinner than the iPad first generation case, mostly flat with temper edges to accommodate the new iPad's design. Interesting enough, 100,000 of these leather cases have been ordered by a famous case company that has not been released and has allegedly already been shipped to the US. So it seems to imply that the design is final too, which would be a reason to release the iPad 2 right now, because who's waiting for it? Thumbs up if you're waiting for it. You want an iPad 2 and you're just waiting for the iPad 2 to come out, so Apple should release it right now. And yeah, just thumbs up if you want an iPad 2 really bad. That is all Apple Knows this week. I'm Corey, and this is Apple Knows. And if you would like to see what Corey knows, follow me on Twitter at www.twitter.com/CoreyEwing1, at CoreyEwing1 if that makes it any easier for you guys. The description has all that information if you would like to follow me. And check back next week to see what else Apple knows, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.